Murray State's very own Racer Band is up and on the rise. Recruitment was through the roof this year, making for the largest band in the history of Murray State. John Fannin was able to join Sarah in the studio to talk about what we can expect out of the Racer Band this year.
I'm here with John Fannin, Assistant Director of Bands and Director of Racer Band. Thanks for being on our show.
Thanks for having me today.
Now, you all have a lot of members in the band this year, the biggest that you've ever had.
Yeah, in April, I started to look at the data. We have an online sign up for Racer. It says join Racer Band on racerband.com. I'm looking at those numbers going, holy cow, that's 100 bigger than it usually is. And then class registrations as well were way up. And so when we got to the end of the second freshman orientation, we had called and confirmed that 320 people were coming. Now, that's not how many actually came, because that's pretty normal for people to back out the last second, but we were very nervous what that means, the logistical data. As far as the numbers go, we're marching 300 this year. There are 126 new members this year. That a lot of years would be 10% of the freshman class at Murray State. We don't have the new freshman numbers yet, but it's going to be a large percent of all new students on campus will be part of the Racer Band. So that 300 members also includes 172 returning members from 244 a year ago. Now, if you take the graduation, people that graduated last year, and we factor that, the return rate for the Racer Band is probably about in the 80 percentile range. And so we're really excited that students are returning to the group at a high rate, maybe the best in the country. And I wouldn't throw that out there if I wasn't fairly sure that's true, but then also we're recruiting new members. Last year we recruited 92 members. So we're up about 30% new members from last year's recruiting.
Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think you all have so many?
I think it's a perfect storm of a lot of things. We retooled our recruiting efforts a couple years ago, about 4 years ago, and recruiting's an ongoing effort. So if somebody sees us their freshman year, for example, we might not see the results of something we do till 4 or 5 years later. So we sent the drum majors out a couple years ago to some targeted area, Lexington, where we weren't recruiting very well, Southern Indiana, and we're starting to see some new results there. We started to tour. We've always gone out with the Racer Band and performed at some high school competitions. And we've always gone to very localized contests. Well, we branched out a little bit. We started to perform at the KMEA Regionals. There's a state championship series, and the regionals have 2 classes in one site in one day. So we've been seeing 32 bands, and we've been targeting different geographical areas. I think that has something to do with it. Certainly the trip this year going to Bands of America certainly is a very nice extra thing for the students. I think the return rate, even though last year's return rate was 76%, I think it certainly helped our return rate this year, that extra trip. It's like imagine an athlete getting to perform in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's for us probably the best event that we can have, because there'll be 10,000 people that do what we do, appreciate what we do. And it's not that football audiences don't, but it's an audience there to see the marching band only. I think that has a lot to do with it. And I really think, if you think about the newest things that have happened in the last year, I think the telecast of Festival of Champions really was a contributor. I mean, it really helped the brand of Racer Band. If you ever notice, we always use the same front of the shirt. There's a lot of branding things that we do with Racer Band, but I think it's a whole new level. And it was a Racer Band ad, and I think it contributed to this year's success of recruiting members.
Now, for all of those Racer Band fans out there, what can they expect to see this year?
Oh, we've got, certainly for the Bands of America show, we're going to pull out all the stops. So it's a little pressure from a writing standpoint for the staff and I. We're going to open up with Fire Dance, a really great Latin chart. That's part of our tradition. You'll see a lot of drill moves, and you're going to see things that are traditional Racer Band. We wanted the first thing to say, this is who we are. We're going to play something called Blue Shades, which is an orchestral bluesy chart. And that's going to be totally different than the audience has ever seen before. Every section of the band gets to show off. There is a hard lick for the snare drums and the trumpets, and it's going to be not so much drill, but a lot of stage, like a dance recital. It's very different. And then we're going to close with I Feel Good, James Brown, because these events get to be a bit of a golf clap moment with the high school shows. High school's being very serious, and people don't get too fired up. So we're going to close with I Feel Good. It's such an exciting chart, and we're going to bring back Shout from 2 years ago. Get the audience singing along with us. We're thinking about incorporation of some video on the Jumbotrons. It's in Lucas Oil Stadium, which was actually designed for football, but then also the marching arts. They actually have a curtain that they put down on the back sideline to block off those seats so it looks even better.
Well, I know I'm excited. That sounds like a lot of fun, and I know the fans will be excited, and you all will do fantastic as always.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being on our show, and we're looking forward to see what you all bring.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.